Today I want to share a very powerful exercise that I've written about before, but I haven't explained the very innermost detail of what gives it the spark. So I'm going to review the part I've already at least written about. I'm not sure if I've showed it on video, although it's widely known. And then I'm going to get into how you, as they say, paint the dragon's eye. That means bring it to life and electrify your charge, your internal energy charge. So this is a drill called Mo Ta Bu, and Mo Ta means friction, Bu means step, like walking step. So Mo Ta Bu, friction step. And it's sometimes called mud step, but there's some variations of it. But basically, I'm going to show the simplest physical form of it. And then I'll tell you how to inject it with this superpower. So basically, you're going to be sliding your foot along the floor. You don't actually touch the floor. In some variations, the bottom of your foot will physically scrape the floor, and I guess that makes people feel it's more like real mud or something, like you're trying to scrape mud off the bottom of your shoe, your sole of your foot. But that's not really necessary. I prefer to keep your foot just like 1 centimeter, like the thickness of 1 or 2 sheets of paper off the floor, just to eliminate that scratchiness. Why bother with that? You don't need that for authenticity. Authenticity comes from the energy charge that you're going to get. So I'll show the basic physics of it, the mechanics, and then I'll describe what you really need for the inner work. You can do this by walking up and down a room, maybe 10 steps forward, 10 steps back, or 5 forward, 5 back. You can also do this in place. You can just circulate your foot backward and forward in place using the same structure that I'm going to show. However, I find that's not as productive as just going forward a few steps and going backward a few steps in the same pattern. It's very simple to do. Now the basic form of this comes from Yi Quan, which I studied in Beijing with the great lineage holder master, even acknowledged as such by the Taikiken organizations in Japan, who is Yao Chengguang. He's the son of Yao Zongxun, who was the #1 student and last and main indoor disciple or whatever of Wang Xiangzhai, who was the founder of Yi Quan. However, I later learned the inner component that, as I said, brings this to life from another teacher that I'm not going to get into. So it's up to you if you want to adopt that. Otherwise, you can take this as a tutorial on the very standard vanilla physics, the mechanics. The important thing is that you walk in a zigzag pattern. So if this is your forward foot, your rear foot will come up to it and go alongside it parallel for a second and then go out to the side again. Then your next step, your weight will start to shift to the other foot, and your stepping foot will go close, go in, go close, and then go out again. In, close, out again, just like that. It's a zigzag pattern. Here's the part that distinguishes the version I'm showing now from the absolute mechanical version. Here's what gives it that extra edge or extra charge. As you move, you want to keep your hands both invariably in this tiger mouth shape, the hukao, okay? Just like Xing Yi Quan. And a little bit canted inward. So by your side, they're not like straight out like that. They're sort of a little bit inward. Keep your mind in your hands, but not tense. Don't tense up. Keep your hands relaxed, but well shaped, so you're mentally present in your hands. Here's the secret. As you begin the stepping foot, so you're raising your stepping foot to do this zigzag thing I'm talking about, press downward and slightly outward with the hand on the same side as the stepping foot. So in other words, let's say you're raising your left foot and bringing it close to the right and then putting it out. Of course, your legs are going to be as relaxed as possible. That's important. Your supporting leg can't relax. We all understand that, I hope. But your stepping leg can relax. It has a kind of mental presence, though, because you're using it to step. It's active. It's alive. But what about your arm? Your arm, at the same time that your stepping leg is raising, going in, going out, press downward. Feel that you're pressing downward with your tiger mouth hand on that side, on the same side as the step. Now, visually, this won't look like much. You may see a little bit of extension when you see someone doing it this way. But it's not really super overt. It's just a very slight motion to the side and downward as you go. And as you do that, you'll feel the huge charge through your arm as you step. And this applies to going both forward and back. So when you go back, again, it's the stepping leg. Now the stepping leg is going backward, inward and backward, you understand. But again, you're pressing from the hand that's on the same side as the stepping leg. So you press it into the floor. It's as though your hand is a foot, basically. You press into the floor on the same side as the light leg. So your arm becomes a little, in a certain sense, heavy or pressured, while the leg becomes light. All right? And that's all you do. You walk back in the same, or forward, in the same zigzag pattern. But now you've coordinated with your arm pressure. And this is mostly a mental pressure. Again, don't tense up. I've been through this a million times. Don't tense up. But feel a kind of extension, a kind of power that can come without tension. Like an elephant's trunk isn't tense, but it's super powerful. It can pick up a small Toyota pickup and throw it across the road in India when they run amok, all right? So something soft can be powerful. You don't need to tense up your muscles. As you press out with your hands in the way that I've described, put your mind in this sort of karate chop edge of your hand, all right? So this is what you could sort of use to chop a pencil in half or something, karate chop. So put your mind there, because that's where the energy will flow into at first. That'll fill your entire hand and arm, of course, as you go. But this is a good focal point. So the reaching arm or the pressing arm, as I've described already, the one that pairs with the stepping foot, you want to put your mind here as far as the hand and arm are concerned as you do that throughout. Then, another secret thing. On your foot, you have an edge too, right? The outer edge of your foot. And like here's your little toe, here's the big toe. Okay, so you've got your outer edge of your foot, which is analogous to this thing on the hand. Put your mind, as you do this stepping, this Z step, in, out, you sort of split your mind between this part of the hand and that outer edge of the complementary, the analogous outer edge of your foot, okay? So keep those two things in mind. Keep this gentle, soft, but definite downward and outward pressure on the stepping side. And if you do this regularly for even a week or so, you should be amazed at the result, unless you tense up and screw the whole thing up. But hopefully you won't do that, because I have talked this into the ground.